Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy Tuesday. And for the second day in a row, we're seeing green markets, which is actually pretty refreshing after these last couple of months. The market is up at the time of this recording, about 5% on the day. Bitcoin is sitting above $36,000. And many altcoins up pretty significantly in these last 24 hours. We have about a dozen that are up in double-digit percentage territory over the course of the last day, and that's actually in the face of some attempted FUD. I shouldn't call it attempted FUD necessarily, but you have certain media outlets that I think were delighting in their ability to report on the negative. We have some Binance news out of not only actually the UK, Japan, Canada as well, where Binance, the entire platform, has been banned. But fortunately, at least for the time being, that hasn't really translated into negative market sentiment. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at some of the other top level macro trends, I think, that are affecting the positive enthusiasm right now, kind of bordering on pop culture a little bit. We'll also take a look at some Chainlink updates. There are actually so many that we're just going to take a look at the Chainlink Twitter feed because they have a lot going on every day, multiple partnerships and collaborations. Guys, if you like this kind of content, Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and altcoins, then be sure to like and subscribe to Altcoin Buzz News. Okay, so here's something that you may have heard about, and it's being covered in this case by Forbes, along with a lot of other media outlets. And again, this is a positive story, despite the fact that it's FUD in nature, but the outcome has been positive. So major cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others, are unfazed as United Kingdom regulators have banned Binance. Yes, it's true. The UK's financial regulator has banned Binance from operating in the country. So it's now joining Canada and Japan this weekend as the third major market causing trouble for the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange as regulators around the world crack down on the industry. But again, and most importantly, this has not translated into negative market sentiment or even a downtrend in prices. Many of you no doubt noticed, but to a lesser extent, we also had in my home country of Canada, the province of Ontario, in which Binance was banned as a platform. This didn't really move the needle at all, fortunately. I think people have had maybe their inoculation of a sufficient FUD dose by now, whereby the negative news is, just kind of like water off a duck's back. And we've developed a thick enough skin to realize that, well, look, if it's not at the level of a China, an entire province, Sichuan, where so much of the mining occurs, if it's not at that level of them just outright banning cryptocurrency, then it's not really a big deal. You can read more about it if you so choose. We're on rt.com. UK bans world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance. But I don't want to focus on the negative because, again, taking a look at the fear and greed index, although we're still in extreme fear territory, currently 25 right now, that's the latest update for June 29th, we're actually slowly ticking up. Because take a look, we had extreme fear, the same 25 yesterday, that was the measurement, but then we had last week 10, and last month we also had 10. Don't ask me how 25 and 10, although they're different numbers, both represent extreme fear, because I think we need a little bit more granularity in this particular system, but there you go. You can see that although modest, we are starting to move that needle toward the positive. And I think there are different explanations as to why the needle is moving. So many of you guys have pointed out, as have a lot of other analysts in the space, that right now, at a macro analytical level, we're moving through the Wyckoff distribution, and we've just kind of swung through some of the lows in that consolidation phase. But now, more importantly, we're making higher lows as we move into phases C, phases D, and phases E, where we're retesting some of the support zones, but ultimately we're kind of consolidating now to be able to move into a new spring upward, right? A spring in positive price action, price trajectory, and then hopefully see new all-time highs for Bitcoin. We've talked about the Wyckoff distribution, as have a lot of other channels in the past, so we don't want to get into that necessarily right now, but there is reason to believe that we're following that pattern very, very closely right now. But that's at the level of charts. And as I like to say, charts are kind of a good structure, a good guideline, but they don't tell the whole story. I am of the opinion that news is more important. And right now we're seeing a lot of positive news that is, kind of from multiple angles impacting the cryptocurrency space in a positive way. Case in point here, Bitcoin Archive. Tom Brady is taking an equity stake in Bitcoin and crypto exchange FTX. That, of course, is Sam Bankman-Fried's exchange. FTX, you have to associate that with Sam Bankman-Fried. Tom Brady himself here, stoked to partner with SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and FTX official as we continue building the future of crypto. I hear we're headed to the moon, throwing a Bitcoin football, I guess, into the moon. That's pretty cool. The thing about Tom Brady is that so many, pointed out that, when he put up this photo of his, we'll take a look at his profile here for a second. When he put up this laser eyes profile picture, that in many ways kind of represented almost the top of the market or the top of the last market cycle, the peak of the temporary bull market. And ever really since he posted this photo, we've been retracing. We've been in this bear trend. So a little bit of unfortunate timing with Tom Brady, who, by the way, I think is the greatest of all time when it comes to NFL quarterbacks. Kudos to the man. He's also involved in non-fungible tokens, in NFTs, with his autograph venture. That's pretty cool. But as you can see, he's becoming more and more involved with cryptocurrency, now dipping his toes into the crypto space with FTX. So I think this is a cool development. I think he's the kind of high-profile guy that, hopefully if he doesn't shill it too hard, this is a good thing to the space because this legitimizes it to a lot of people that would otherwise maybe not be interested or not be involved in cryptocurrency. Take a look at the story. It's being covered by Time.com. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen take equity stake in crypto firm FTX. And here's what Sam Bankman-Fried had to say, quote, Tom and Gisele are both legends, and they both reach the pinnacle of what they do. Again, that's courtesy of Sam Bankman-Fried, founder and chief executive officer of FTX. He said this during a phone interview. When we think about what FTX represents, we want to be the best product that is out there. So not only do you have some high-profile individuals that are getting into the space, but this forces outlets like Time Magazine and their website, time.com, to kind of educate people about what's happening. So I think on the whole, it's a pretty good thing. I wish Tom success in this latest equity stake because his success is going to cascade down into my success and your success and our success. So fingers crossed, but I think ultimately it's a good thing. On another level, much more modest in terms of following, in terms of celebrity impact, but also at the level of legitimizing this space, telling people that, hey, it's okay. It's no longer taboo. There's no stigma associated with this as there used to be. And you know that, I know that. We've been in the space probably for a while, but to the everyday individual that maybe has never invested yet in cryptocurrency, there probably are some lingering fears, and they're told by the media, they see FUD thrown at them all the time, and they feel that, there is still plenty of risk. And I'm not saying this is a justified concern, but I'm saying this is their perception of the situation. They feel that maybe there's too much risk, or maybe it's too black market and too taboo and what have you. But here you have U.S. Senator Loomis, quote, I encourage people to save Bitcoin for their retirement and for their future. Very specifically stated and in a very inviting way that I think a lot of people can open up to. You also have individuals like Richard Salinas, I believe was his name, the third richest man in Mexico, billionaire, who's straight up coming out and saying, look, fiat is fraud. He's not pulling his punches. Fiat is fraud, and he's into Bitcoin, and he's not investing 1% of his portfolio or 2% or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 10% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. Like, that doesn't exist at the level of investments. To invest 10% of your multi-billion-dollar portfolio into something means that it's the opportunity of a lifetime in your eyes. So a lot of people, just as those that are following Senator Loomis here, other people that are following Tom Brady, and yet others that are following, not Richard Salinas, my apologies, Ricardo Salinas. Everybody's kind of getting this message in one form or another. And you also have this summit that's upcoming here. We're on CNBC.com. This summit is happening in early July between Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk. They're going to discuss Bitcoin and 5 other key crypto moments from the past week. The 5 other crypto moments, that's just kind of like stories that are relevant right now, but that's not necessarily what they're going to discuss in their meeting. I have a lot of respect for Jack Dorsey in this space. I think he's been an evangelical. He's been kind of the tip of the spear as far as promoting the culture and the use cases and the benefit of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Elon Musk, we were fond of at one point. Of course, we are not anymore. Elon Musk has been extremely irresponsible. And here's just like a quick, just a thought experiment almost, because nobody seems to be talking about this. But John McAfee, okay, the late Mr. McAfee, rest in peace. He was accused of tax evasion. He was jailed purportedly for tax evasion, right? And he was also, they hammered him for his involvement in all kinds of different crypto projects, different initiatives, some of which were okay, some of which were decent projects, some of which were a little bit sketchy. But they said that he was an unofficial ambassador or representative of those projects. All right, fine. Does the same thing apply to Elon Musk? Dogecoin, anybody? Remember that? Dogecoin? That's still ongoing, and nobody seems to be calling him out on the fact that he's basically shilling a project, talking up Bitcoin, talking down Bitcoin, inconsistent with his messaging about what Tesla is doing with Bitcoin, and all the while really talking up, fueling the fire, the investment fire, and the enthusiasm for Dogecoin. Now, whether you like Dogecoin or not, all I'm saying is that standards have to apply. If you were critical, as the US lawmakers were, as the SEC was, of John McAfee for those reasons, I don't see why Elon Musk gets a free pass. And so my hope, bringing it back to this summit here, whatever you want to call it, this discussion between Dorsey and Musk, is that they have a discussion and, they talk about things openly and candidly. But I hope that Jack Dorsey kind of holds Elon Musk's feet to the fire a little bit. I hope that he pokes back a little bit and challenges him on some of the things that he's said and some of, again, the inconsistencies. That's what bothers me, because Elon Musk cannot be for the space and then retract his statement 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, based on the ridiculous situation that Tesla has, whereby they understand the hand that feeds them. They don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. Tesla makes all their money selling effectively carbon credits and carbon offsets to other auto manufacturers. And so that's where they have to do damage control. And anyways, I don't want to rehash that story. You guys know this, but Elon Musk has been ultra hypocritical. And I hope that is addressed in this summit. I hope Jack Dorsey brings it up. We also have this. This is old news. This is just confirming that the only reason China really did crack down on cryptocurrencies was because they're supporting their CBDC, their central bank digital currencies. This is the latest opinion of Christopher Wood, top executive at Jefferies. You don't need his opinion. I was saying this over a month ago. So, everybody understands this. It is standard. Of course, they're supporting their cryptocurrency, their central bank digital currency. They're getting rid of everything else and paving the way for their digital yuan. And before moving into Chainlink news, this is something that I thought was pretty cool. For those of you that may be familiar, maybe you've seen the movie The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. I think it's like 20 or 25 years old as a movie. I just randomly happened to watch it like earlier this year for the first time. And I thought the premise was cool. Themes about existentialism and your place in the world, and to what extent do you take your actions and your behaviors for granted? Do you have full agency? Are you just a cog in the machine? All that kind of stuff. Very kind of like Westworld-esque, as in Westworld on HBO, which is a much better version of The Truman Show, in my opinion. I thought the ideas of the movie were cool. The production values I thought were terrible. But again, the ideas were cool. So in light of all this that we're talking about, Tom Brady getting into NFTs, Ricardo Salinas telling us that fiat is fraud, United States senators telling us to save Bitcoin and start buying into it for your retirement's sake, it very much, I think, is kind of encapsulated in this meme here, whatever you want to call it. And just the dimensions of it were very vertical, so didn't really fit into a community post or an Instagram post, but I wanted to share it here. So here's Truman sailing up to the artificial horizon. Something is wrong. What is this? 21lessons.com, Bitcoin Audible, sovereign individual Bitcoin standard, fiat money, a slavery system. That's a Ricardo Salinas almost quote. I understand. Dome of lies, and Bitcoin representing the exit, representing freedom. And look, to a certain extent, I think, maybe to you or I, this is kind of almost redundant, like it's obvious. But think of how many people are getting some of this messaging for the first time. Again, whether it's from that senator, whether it's from Ricardo Salinas, whether it's from Tom Brady, whether it's from Michael Saylor or anybody else, or a Max Kaiser or other people in this space. So many people to varying degrees, and whether it's related to their finances or any other aspect of their life. So many people are going through the motions and they're living their own Truman Show right now. And I think this messaging that's coming out is at least going to tickle the interest of some individuals, and they'll begin questioning some things, if only at the level of like what's pragmatic, right? Is it pragmatic for me to be saving up all of this fiat, whether it's Canadian dollars or US dollars or Venezuelan bolivar? Is it pragmatic for me to be saving this denomination if I want to retire in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30, whatever the case may be? And I think a lot of people will arrive at the conclusion that no, it's not. And the more of these discussions that we have, the more Tom Brady's we have entering the space, the more Ricardo Salinas individuals that we have, even the more senators that we have here that are talking about this openly, adding credibility to the space, making it part of the political discussion. Well, the more Jim Carreys we're going to have that are going to question their economic and financial realities, which I think ultimately is a good thing. Finally, guys, I did want to discuss Chainlink, and I saw one or two stories that I wanted to highlight, but there were just too many, because in the last day alone, check out all the updates that Chainlink has here, partnerships and collaborations with the DeFi network, with Biconomy, with Phantom, with ApeSwap, Honey from yesterday. There's just too much. So, what was going to be sort of a quick overview of one or maybe two stories has just turned into an impossible task. Go over to Chainlink's Twitter feed, @Chainlink is the handle. Check it out for yourself. There's a lot happening with Chainlink. And that is it for today, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army on this Tuesday. Hope you're having a good one. As always, be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. That includes Facebook, that includes Twitter, that includes Telegram, and it also includes our Telegram Trade Signals group. It's not financial advice, but it's kind of like a group discussion. So collective discussion, everybody contributes. We discuss chart analysis, price analysis, and also just calendar events like project milestones with regards to your favorite altcoins that you may be following. So I always pin that information to the top of the comments section below. Go down there, scroll down, check it out, and join the discussion. You are very welcome to be part of the group. None of this is financial advice, although, hey, if you do choose to invest, I wish you only the very best of luck, fortune, prosperity, life-changing gains, hopefully. And I think we're going to have an opportunity for that as the bull market resumes. I think that things are starting to look very good. We just have to give it a little bit more time. So best of luck if you do choose to invest. Stay safe, everybody. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.